Hello everyone and welcome to a new ATFX Connect video. My name is Gonzalo Canete and I'm here as always every Tuesday, every Thursday to share with you the last 24 hours update on financial markets. In this case, we're going to also mention what's going on Monday related with macroeconomic data, but we also going to mention what's going on in terms of international global events. And I'm talking here about Middle East. Last night, if you don't see yet, last night was actually a new attack, in this case done by Iran, on the north of Iraq and close to certain US military positions. We're going to take a look on that in detail later. Now, I want to review with you, first of all, the macroeconomic data for the last 24 hours. Just to remind you, at our X account, ATFX Connect, I personally take care of this account and I'm uploading during the season every single relevant thing I detect. So if you want to follow it, just go to X, ATFX Connect slide down Connect, and you can just follow all the updates by that profile. So I published a few minutes ago just a summary of the key most important events for the week. Still, I'm gonna go to the calendar now at investing.com just to share with you the last data. On Monday, yesterday, let me check this week. Yesterday we got was the industrial production from European Union. It was minus 0.3% and it was in line with expectations, minus 0.3%. What is important is, this is important basically because it's confirming what I have been saying for the last couple of months. We are facing an imminent recession in Europe. And the main question, the 1 million question is why, if the macroeconomic data from European Union is that worse, that bad, why European markets still are not falling? Why actually the last 5 weeks we have seen how European market was rising. That's a $1 million question, and it's, well, we interpretate that probably the reason is because the Federal Reserve was assuming an interest cut based on the Jerome Powell, president of the Federal Reserve, words. They were actually considering interest rate cuts for this new year 2024, and therefore the whole market were celebrating. The question is for how long they're gonna be celebrating an announcement like that, and when exactly they're gonna start to face certain points of reality that, in my eyes, in my opinion, are coming, and even with comments from today, well, from yesterday, from the head of economist from Central Bank of Europe mentioned that interest cuts rate are actually super optimistic because they are not considering yet that. Anyways, coming back, I'm gonna share the full screen with you so you can see all numbers in detail. Coming back to the agenda, we can see that trade balance was not too bad for European Union, 20.3 billions. If we also take a look on the data today release, we got also, let me check what was relevant here. Unemployment rate in United Kingdom falls by 4.2% from 4.3%. Good news, because mainly the market was discounted a recession in United Kingdom, and these numbers actually give some optimism or support for UK economy on the market. Now, moving forward, German CPA, the inflation rate, it was 3.7 on 3.7 expectation, but it's still rising, my friends. Let me show you my face of surprise, rising from 0.2% to 3.27%, which means like Germany is actually facing again a new spike on inflation. Do you remember when we assumed that inflation was over and therefore there was no need for increased interest rates anymore, and the market was celebrating that because the other scenario, interest rate hikes, were actually causing certain drama on the market? Well, these numbers is a kind of reminder of what could happen if the inflation is back. Still, the reaction of this should be a kind of downtrend movement on European market, and even maybe an uptrend movement on euro dollar. We're gonna see the charts in a minute. Again, the interannual was 0.1% inflation. We also got the ZEW indicator of economical conditions in Germany. It was minus 77.3%. And believe me, that was even worse than expectation, because expectation was minus 77 points. In terms of economical sentiment, it was 15.2%, little bit better than the 12% expected. So, and for European Union was 22.7% versus 21.9%. Now, what is important for today and what I would like to share with you in terms of agenda? Remember also ATFX blog, ATFX Connect blog. I'm uploading every single day the last 24 hours of the most important top news that you should follow or should be aware of. So in this case, we were talking about the pike on inflation in Germany, but you can see also here ECB policymaker Joachim Nagel said yesterday that it's too early for the European Central Bank to discuss cutting interest rates because inflation remains high. It will be interesting to keep an eye, I say here, on euro-dollar to see what's the reaction of the market. Because if in this case, Central Bank of Europe is actually holding the interest rates for longer, euro should get stronger. Anyways, for today, it's also important to keep an eye on inflation rates for Canada because Canada, as you can see, I mentioned also here, Canada high crude oil stockpiles mean that unusual low crude oil prices in recent weeks is leaving the CAD highly discounted. The price of the oil is still falling for the last 4 or 5 weeks, falling, regardless of what's going on in Middle East, and therefore, let's say commodity currencies linked to the oil, which is like ruble from Russia, NOK, current from Norway, and of course Canadian dollar, are getting weaker and weaker because they are straightly linked to the oil prices. Now, if that's the situation, we can take a look on US CAD and you will see how it's rising for the last few days. Particularly the last 24 hours has been rising like almost 50-70 pips. And therefore, it means like inflation gonna shake the CAD dollar. It's gonna also shake the speculations about what's the position of the Central Bank of Canada in terms of monetary policies. And that's why I believe the 1.35, 1.3550 could be certain pivot point levels for maybe a potential twist on the price. Still remember, this is not an advice of any kind. I'm just doing this video to share with you certain information. What else? From United States, it was interesting. I thought it was interesting to remind you that Donald Trump wins the Iowa caucus landslide victory. According to the US media projections, he won about 67% of the vote, leading the Republican Party into the November elections. The second favorite candidate was Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, with about 18% of the Republican vote. So this means that definitely now, what everyone knew before, but now it's officially with numbers on the table, Donald Trump is the top candidate for Republican Party, and well, even I have seen certain news saying by Biden that they are really concerned about this because it seems to be Trump the candidate, and they are asking to please, more now than ever, make donations to the Democrat Party to fight back these radicals from Republican Party. I thought it was funny. And I give you also the perspective of what's gonna happen this year. 2024 is starting now. Donald Trump is running for president of the United States, and Donald Trump is a very controversial person who could change eventually completely the foreign policy of United States like he did in the past. Middle East tensions. Let's finish with this and let's go to the charts. Middle East tensions escalate. Iran claimed responsibility for the bombing on Erbil, Iraq, and Aleppo, Syria, last night, saying it was an operation against anti-Iranian terrorist organizations. 8 facilities near to U.S. consulate in the city of Erbil, the administrative center of Iraq Kurdistan, and an autonomous region in the north of Iraq, were reportedly damaged, according to the local Kurdish media. The U.S. condemns Iran's reckless missile attack that left 4 deaths in Erbil, Iraq. Still, the surprising thing here is oil prices do not seem to have reacted aggressively and remain at similar or even lower levels than before the attack. Can you believe that? Well, let's start the chart with the oil prices. So, are you telling me that actually Iran is taking certain military actions on Iraq and bombing certain positions close to U.S. Army, and oil is not reacting? Let's move to one-day candles. This is the situation of oil market right now. And as you can see, it's true that it's making a kind of pattern here, which is this, getting the price trap between these two levels. So the battle here is, it's gonna break up in a bullish pattern, or it's gonna keep falling to the bottom levels. It seems to be kind of a bullish pattern here, to eventually could break up and go to $85-88 per barrel, but we have to wait until we see some indications that this is actually happening. That was Brent. This is US oil. Again, super low, super discounted. That's why I was saying to you that if you check USD CAD, you will see that actually is super interesting now. Look, the move is doing, rising completely and getting super close to the 200 moving average, 5500 moving average, and in my eyes, these levels is certainly a resistance. So that's why I was saying that eventually, potentially, could be a kind of a pivot point to twist the price for the coming hours down. And today we got inflation rate from Canada. Now, equity. Let's take a look on SP 500, and you will see that the market is dropping, and still US market is not open. This is the futures. So if you can see the futures, they're making this kind of runs here, lateral runs. Same thing here. You see, if we switch to 4 hours candle, you will see that it is even more precise. We also take a look on Nasdaq. It seems to be also falling. It's also got the same range of prices that we would describe for the previous ones. Certain supports here, 55 moving average, period moving average, but still, market seems to be either in a lateral movement or just in a correction from those 5 weeks rising for the end of 2023. What happens now? This is the time for true, right? Let's see what is going on for the coming weeks. Russell 2000, it was actually dropping strongly from the maximum record, so it's not, as you can see, it's not doing the lateral movement. It's actually losing the lateral movement, dropping below that lateral range. And if I take a look on European market, same thing for DAX. Actually, this chart I was sharing with you like an hour ago on my social networks, ATFX slide down connect on X. You will find here the chart, which is this one that I was sharing with you, just indicating, despite tensions in Middle East and excess of optimism over the positive rate cut, let me check, over a possible rate cut, the German market is clinging to its 200-day moving average. And I was also remind you, just after this chart, I was remind you the last news about this, the one who is the head of economic policies at the European Central Bank, mentioning that he believes it's premature to discuss reducing interest rates due to persistently high inflation. This is not good news for the market. This is not good news for the equity, because it means it's gonna make the things harder for the market to keep on certain levels. I think we have checked all. Let's take a look also on dollar. Wow, dollar is rising strongly. And I guess also if the euro dollar is dropping, you see, very interesting, super interesting. Now let's take a look to Bitcoin also. It's still on around $43,000, $42,800 per Bitcoin, and doing a support. I think it's nothing to really to get concerned about. Highly discounted the proof of the ETFs on Bitcoin. I think that's the reason why the price was dropping recently. A part of that has been doing an amazing year 2023, and it seems to probably there is no reasons to believe that it's not gonna keep doing well this year. Now gold, $2,043 per ounce and dropping. Very important levels right now, because if it's dropping below those levels, maybe it's gonna start to be under the range again from $1,850 to $2,000 per ounce, but we need to wait to see this. If the dollar is keep rising in that at that speed, probably it's gonna pull below the 200 moving average the price of the gold. We're gonna keep watching, keep monitoring the market. I'm gonna keep sharing with you the last updates on the market in the coming videos. So if you like this, please subscribe to the channel. Just as a reminder, if you also want to join my newsletter, which is completely free, send me an email. You got my data there. Send me an email, and I'm gonna include you in my newsletter every morning to receive straight on your inbox the last news and the last comments from ATFX Connect, Gonzalo Canete. Thank you for watching and take care. Bye bye.